Yesterday in the spring game, lots of updates, lots of thoughts, a couple of injuries that we'll talk about here in just a moment, but an overall positive day. Let's jump right into it. So you start at the top with DJ Uiagalelei, who I thought looked really good. Now, I know there's a stat line running around. I know that there will be trolls, there will be rivals who say like, oh, this, that, and the other. I thought overall DJ looked really good. I thought he got off to kind of a slow start. It's so hard because they start out doing drills, right? And you're watching them run a series from backed up on their own goal line, and then you watch them do another series right up on the other goal line. And then after some drills, they start to get into the game. They start to get into what looks like a scrimmage. Again, very loose. And so I don't really care as much about the stats because the stats from those drills and stuff early are included. I thought DJ was hurt a little bit yesterday by drops. I thought he probably had 3 or 4 incompletions to start the scrimmage because of drops, because of just defensive line kind of getting after it. And then he really settled in and he really looked sharp. And I thought there were some nice back shoulder throws that he hit. One to Kentron that I thought was really, really good. I thought there were some back shoulder throws to Hakeem that he just missed that went out of bounds. Really, really good percentage of those are going to be caught or fall out of bounds. So I like the very low risk of them. I think he needs to work on that timing a little bit with some of the receivers, but for the most part, he was finding guys. We'll talk about Benson, who did go down at one point. I thought he was really, really crisp with Malik Benson. I thought those two looked like they were very much in sync. It looks like they have the most natural chemistry. We'll talk again about the injury in a minute, but I think Benson might be your wide receiver 1 at this point. Do they need to go and explore other options? Probably in the portal, they do. Very deep room, but I think Benson's probably the leader in that room. But overall, I thought DJ looked very comfortable. I thought a couple of the long passes, just showing off the arm. He had one very early that was like a step or two ahead of where Benson was. But I mean, he just let the thing fly and took very little effort to do it. I think that was probably the longest pass of the day. Didn't complete it, but I thought that's kind of where you're seeing the reports of, oh man, the arm is there. The arm talent and how this guy can just launch it is absolutely there. What I've been consistently told by people out at practice, the staff, the people that we chat with, is that DJ wants to push the ball down the field. That wasn't necessarily Travis's MO. Obviously, you're talking about different kinds of arm strength, but DJ wants to push it down the field and air it out a little bit. And I think you saw that yesterday. Once he settled in, I thought he looked really, really comfortable. I didn't think that the referees were calling pass interference at all. Obviously, there was one down on the goal line that was called, but there were a couple over the middle that I thought guys got held on, and it just looked like they were letting them play. It's a scrimmage. It's not even a game. It's not even a spring game. So they just kind of left it wide open and let them play. I think if you take away a couple of the drops, if you take away or add to, him getting a couple of completions with some pass interferences, I think you're looking at a pretty respectable stat line. I don't care about the stat line. I thought he looked composed. I thought he looked really sure of himself. I thought he looked really good rolling out with the ball. That was something that I didn't know what I would expect there, what we would really get out of him. I thought when he was moving and on the move, he looked really good. He looked sharp. And again, he was finding guys. I didn't think our wide receivers helped him very much. We could talk about that position group a little bit. But overall, I was pretty impressed with DJ, and I thought he looked really good. I think you're going to get a couple of WTF throws every game, maybe one a game. He had a couple that maybe should have been picked off. Had some nice plays by some defenders on other ones, but yeah, you may get a head scratcher once a game, twice a game. But overall, I thought he was really, really good. And if you can limit some of that, hey man, don't make that throw situations, I think he'll be really good. Wide receivers, I didn't think they were great. I thought Benson looked about the best. I thought that the wide receivers could have helped him a lot more just holding on to the ball. Like Kentron had one that he dropped that was wide open really early that would have, gone for 15, 20 yards, right? And frustrating to watch the drops. I mean, Williamson dropped one down on the goal line. I think Williamson dropped another one at one point, and then I think there was one more drop that I'm just not remembering right now. Maybe it was Morlock. I'm not 100% sure, but drops were a problem. If you add 4 completions to DJ's total, he's probably looking at like 200 yards and He has the touchdown to Williamson, and he's like 16 of 22 or whatever it was. So, yeah, drops were a massive issue and have to get better. It's something that's been talked about during spring, something that was talked about during the first scrimmage. We talked about it in our update on here that drops were an issue, and they have continued to be an issue. Now, how does Florida State address that? Can we get that better through the offseason? Can we get that better once we get over closer to Dublin? Do they go to the portal to look for a wide receiver? I'm not sure. I think they probably should. I think Malik's probably your closest thing to a wide receiver one. Kentron at like full health and catching everything that goes his way is probably really close to that too. He is incredibly talented, but I do think that you probably need a little bit more in that room as far as a top level guy. Benson's super fast. I like the Pokey Wilson comparison there. Obviously, you're worried about his injury. To me, it looked like an ankle. It looked like that's where he was grabbing. You can literally just tell when the replay is being shown and he's grabbing his foot area as opposed to his knee. That's somewhat of a good sign, unless it's broken. I don't anticipate that it's broken, but we'll see. Right? I haven't checked in or anything this morning. So we'll see what happens there. Fingers crossed, because he did look really good, and you certainly like to have him available. But thankfully, it wasn't a knee, so could just be a sprain. We'll see if anybody says anything. If we can find anything out, we'll certainly update you in our Discord, which you can get by signing up at patreon.com/DFNS. We'll have some news and notes on both his and the other Alabama transfer, TJ Ferguson's injury, which that one does worry me a little bit more. It looked like he was grabbing towards his knee. That one, fingers crossed that I just saw that wrong, but it looked like a knee to me. It looked like it was kind of mid-leg. I'd love to be wrong there. Maybe he just hyperextended. Maybe it's nothing super serious, but didn't look great the way he was kind of slapping the ground. Prayers up to TJ Ferguson, hopefully not lost for the year. Again, no inside info. Haven't asked anybody about that yet, but it just didn't look great. Benson's looked like I think he'll be fine. Ferguson's certainly worried me. Another Alabama transfer, Roydell Williams, looked really, really good at times. I thought that he ran super well. I thought that he had that one long run where DJ held on to it for a while and then handed it off, kind of on the read option. I thought that he ran the ball very effectively. I thought all the running backs, I could see us running the ball 65% of the time. I think all the running backs looked really good. Holmes had the truck run where he ran over Brown. I thought Brown got low and looked like he was going to get the tackle, and Holmes just got lower. And, super effective. Brown's not a bad tackler at all. Any questions that have ever existed about him have not been about tackling. And so, I thought that because Holmes looked really good, when Jalen Lucas got the ball out of the backfield, he is absolutely shot out of a cannon. He absolutely is up to full speed in about half a second. And he's hard to get. He's a little guy who is absolutely elusive and looked really, really good. I thought he had a good day. I thought all the running backs looked really good. And I think, Toafili, we didn't even mention Toafili. Toafili was fine. I don't think they played him much intentionally just because they know what they have there. But, I think the running back room is really, really good. And I think you've got a lot of talent and a lot of weapons back there. I know you lost Hill. Obviously, you lose Benson to the NFL. But I think you're still really happy with how that room looks. Got questions about Cam Davis. He was being held out with an undisclosed injury. Had gotten banged up at another time during spring here recently, and just didn't want to aggravate anything any further. I'm not super concerned there. I think he'll be fine. I saw rumors floating around of like, oh, is he unhappy? Well, no, he just a little banged up, and I think he'll be fine here coming up soon. Defense was, I think defense was better than offense at this point. I know that we got some long runs off, but you got to remember that Farmer's not in there. I don't love our defensive tackle depth outside of, I like Lyons. I know that Braden Fisk was on there saying that KJ Sampson could be somebody that surprises, but I thought Jackson played really well. I thought MJJ and Pat played well. Did enough. I know Pat wasn't in there, absolute ton, because you know what you have there. MJJ with the pass breakup early when he was dropping back into coverage was really impressive. Obviously gets everybody excited. But I thought the defensive line was pretty good considering, Farmer not being in there, banged up during the spring and not participating. He's locked in. He's focused. I think the defense was overall better. Doesn't surprise me much. Defense usually better at this point in the spring. And, not a new quarterback, right? If it was Jordan out there, maybe it looks a little bit better. Although Jordan wasn't really great in spring games either. Azariah Thomas, I thought was really, really good on the day. I thought that he did a great job. I thought all the corners looked really good. I thought Edwin Joseph looked good at times. I thought Fintrell Cypress looked really good at times. I think the secondary is going to be really good, but probably the biggest surprise was how the linebackers played. I thought the linebackers played really, really well. Obviously Murphy gets banged up at one point, comes back in and still is able to make a difference. People talked about Cryer in coverage was really good, better than people expected. You know what you're going to get out of Lundy. If you can get similar to Lundy's play out of Murphy, and then Cryer or Graham or others can step up and be that extra piece, then I think you'll be pretty happy with the linebacker group. I don't think that they need to be satisfied at some of these positions. I think they can go out and get a little bit more, but I thought the linebackers were kind of a pleasant surprise, probably played better than I was hoping. I think if I had concerns on this team, my biggest concern is probably linebacker play. Wide receivers up there as well on the offensive side. Defensive line depth is probably like third, and then that's it. I feel really good about where this team is. Norvell's been talking about them being bigger and faster and stronger. I mean, they kind of look that way, right? Like they look more like, hey, this is a real football team, like back up 5 years ago and just put the side-by-sides up and you'll see what I mean by that. But yeah, I think they look a lot better. I understand that a lot of that star talent of Verse and Benson and Keon and Jordan and different guys are gone, but I really like the way that this team looks just as a unit, as a complete unit. But yeah, if I had concerns, it'd be linebacker play, which got answered a little bit yesterday. Needs to continue to improve. Defensive line depth, I think they'll address that in the portal, or at least attempt to address that in the portal. And then the wide receiver room. Can we find a wide receiver one? Tight end would be a position I think you could look at as well if you can kind of find it'd be nice to find a Jaheim Bell in there, but we'll see kind of what the tight end room may look like. I thought Jackson West looked pretty good. Not a name that maybe many people were expecting. I asked about Jackson West last year, and just like, hey, what are the thoughts here? Is this a possible? I asked at one point, is this a possible transfer candidate? And I was told no. We absolutely love him. We think he's going to contribute at one time or another, and we're excited about having him on this roster. And he made some big catches yesterday. Got open a few times. Probably played better than anybody was expecting him to. Overall, again, too many drops. I thought it was a rough day for Byers. I didn't think he was particularly good. I haven't gone back and done a rewatch yet, but it seemed like he was getting pushed back quite a bit. Obviously Rob Scott not around in the spring. I've been told to expect Rob Scott by the time that fall gets here, although we've been told that year after year, and he seems to struggle with some injuries, so we'll see kind of what that looks like. But I liked the starting offensive line. I mean, they're just going to need more time together. I liked the offensive line of Washington, Byers on the edges, Ferguson there in the middle, Keandre in the middle, and then Smith at center. I thought that was good. Again, worry is a little bit about Ferguson. Where is he at? What does he end up being able to bring? Is he able to get back? Was it a knee? What's the situation with Benson? We'll certainly keep that updated. Again, you can check our Discord, patreon.com/DFNS to get access to that. Listen, we didn't do a really heavy ad read on this. We do have some new partners that we're excited to tell you about. If you have a business or a service or anything that you need to get the name out there for, we've recently gone over like 5 million views. We're closing it on 6. Do me a favor and hit us up. You can hit my email. It's just tj@doublefriesnoslaw.com. If you'd like to partner with us in any way, get your brand, service, or name out there, we'd be happy to assist. Let me know your thoughts on the spring showcase. Again, I'm not a huge fan of this. I'm not a huge fan. I think in a few years, we may just not even have spring showcases. I don't necessarily think they're that entertaining. You learn a little bit, but just a day that you may go out and end up having some injuries, right? Just like any other practice, I suppose. But, they're not super entertaining. It's hard to take stuff away. It doesn't seem like it's something that the program cares very much about. The football account did not tweet or post one Instagram post during the showcase. They posted about the alternate uniforms, which, you know, if you have a hot take on the turquoise uniform and you want to put that in the comments, that's fine. They posted that, and then they posted something at like 8 or 9 p.m. A touchdown that was during the celebrity coaches portion of the game. So they didn't post about it once during. I think that's pretty telling. They don't care about it either. They just, hey guys, you get the day off today. Don't worry about tweeting or anything. When usually you'd expect them to like the Keziah Holmes run, just screen cap that and show the replay. They didn't post once. They just do not care about it at all. So I don't know. Maybe this isn't even a thing in a few years, but some takeaways, some things that I was impressed with, some things they need to fix up. We'll do a more in-depth portal video at some point, like different targets, different things they're attacking. Again, we're going to talk about some of those portal guys in our Discord today that I think Florida State's going to go after. Now that the sanctions are up, now that today's the last day that we can't contact people, kind of finally talk about some of those things. But overall, a good day. Again, I liked what I saw from DJU. You pray for the injuries, that they're not as serious as they looked. Don't be surprised with some portal entries this week. Some guys on the sideline in uniform or not in uniform. Again, not everybody that didn't dress out is going to hit the portal, but there are some guys that are going to hit the portal that didn't dress out yesterday. Some that did dress out yesterday. So keep your eyes on that. Florida State needs to lose some scholarships to be able to add some more as well. So don't be super shocked when you see some. Just hope that it's not any of your main big guys, which I don't expect it to be. But let me know your thoughts on the spring game down in the comments. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and hanging out. We'll talk to you soon. Go Noles.